Guys, so I'm back here making another recording for you, and this recording will be to address the issue that we're having, the discussion and the disagreement on whether or not Mr. Tormund Giantsbane and Derek Dondarrion died in the last episode of the last season yesterday. This is very important because there's some money riding on the line, and I want to make this as fair as possible. So I did further investigation. This is the article that George had posted this morning, which basically assumes it says that Tormund and Derek were left on this edge right here, which is the west side of the wall. If that was the case, I think the two would have a very good likelihood of being alive. And at that point, I would be quiet and I would say, okay, they're still alive. We cannot say that they're left for dead. And again, to go back to it, when I say left for dead, doesn't mean that they die. It means that they were in a situation where it was almost impossible for them to come out alive. And basically that situation was not resolved by the end of the last episode to where we see them alive and we know that they lived. Like, for instance, what happened to Jamie. Jamie was left for dead when he was in the river, and his life was resolved by the next episode where we showed that he lived, and we showed that Braun was an Olympic swimmer, and basically they could both hold their breath for weeks. Anyways, it's very unfortunate that it's not similar situation where that could be resolved because there's no more episode. And unfortunately, according to the rules that we set back on July 14th, if you're left for dead and never shown again by the end of the last episode in the season, in the season, the person counts as dead. So my job here is to prove to you that they were not on the west side, on the west ledge, and that they were on the east ledge. And since the whole east side of the wall collapsed, then that means that it's very unlikely for them to survive that. So they are left for dead. And if they are left for dead and the show is over, then they are considered as dead. So here's my explanation. So to start off, we're going to go first to a map of Eastwatch by the Sea, and I want to orient you guys. And basically, this is Eastwatch by the Sea here. Oh no, what are you doing? I want to draw. This Eastwatch by the. What are you doing? Whoa, what's going on? This Eastwatch by the Sea, right there. So we could safely assume that this is north, right? And this is south, and it made a thing. We don't want that. We want to call this south. Where's my pen? South. This is west. Whatever you want. That's west, that way, and this way is east. Okay, so this is the wall, and the others come over here. They're marching south. So this is very important to orient ourselves. The dragon is here, and the dragon is shooting the fire at the north part of the wall, which means the fire is traveling south. So this is what we will use to orient ourselves. So the article suggests that they were left on the west side of the wall, which if that was the case, I would agree and I say they survived. But I will show you that they were not, and they were actually last seen on the east side of the wall, which collapsed completely. Okay, so here we go. All right. Okay, there we go. Whenever you're ready. Okay, so here's the dragon destroying it. All right, guys, so pay attention. All right, so this is when it happens. Oh, there you go. That's Tormund's Giant Spain and Derek Dondarrion right there running. And this is when we see the direction of the fire. So, all right, they cross the screen, and you got the two guys who were going to sacrifice. If you didn't see it, there was... Okay, so let's just continue watching. This is what I want you to see right here. The fire came from the right side of the screen to the left, which means that if that's south, the two guys are running east. Now I want you to look at this real quick. Look at the direction that Tormund is looking at. And I'll show you why if Tormund and Derek Dondarrion were on the west side of the wall, this would not make any sense because Tormund would be looking to the south. And he's looking at the dragon right now, and the dragon is to the north of the wall. So this is another proof that he's on the east side. He's looking at the wall. Okay? That's the east side of the wall coming down. I mean, they would be dead by now. See? Here it goes. Just the whole east side of the wall is coming down. If they were on the west side, they would be okay. But I don't think they were. So I'm going to pause this, exit. And we're going to go back. And we want to look at a couple of things real quick. Try to make this quick. All right, it's Tormund and Derek running. They're running. Let's open this up here. They're running this way. Okay, so if they were going west, right, you would expect the fire to come this way for it to make sense. If they were traveling west, the fire would have to come from the left side. If you're looking, you know, if they were looking at the west, if the camera was set up on the west side of the wall, you would expect the fire to come from the left side since the fire is coming from the north. But that's not what happens. What happens is that the fire comes from the right side of the wall. This is the north, right? If the fire is coming from the right side of the wall, then this makes the east. This right here is Tormund Giant's Bane. He's on the east side of the wall. Now for my next exhibition, I'll show you this. Tormund and Derek here are clearly looking at the dragon. If by any chance they were on the, let's open this up, they were on the west side of the wall, look at the way that he's looking. If he was looking at the dragon, he would be looking, it looks like he's looking south, but the dragon is not south. The dragon is north. It doesn't make any sense from where he was last seen in a sense of point of view and camera direction. So when you look at something like this, if Tormund is looking in that direction, that means he will be looking south, which will be wrong because the dragon is north of the wall. If he's on the other side of the wall, then he's looking west, which is wrong because if it's on the west side of the wall, that means that the dragon is on his east. So he's looking at another wall, basically. He's looking at the wall. So in orientation to where the dragon is and where the action is happening, it only makes sense that he's on the east side of the wall, looking at the dragon in the north. His stare right here could only suggest that he's staring west from the east side, looking at the north, south of the dragon. So there's my evidence. I think guys could definitely argue with that and come up with crazy theories on why that does not work. But just watch the scene. It's at 1 minute and 1 hour and what is it, 1 hour and 19-minute mark. Watch the scene again. The orientation does not lie. Tormund and Derek Dondarrion were left on the east side of the wall, and the east side of the wall can last, which means that they either die or they were left for dead. So I am not going to change my mind, and they will continue to be marked as dead. Let's watch it again. They're running east. Fire comes. Look at that. He's looking. Look at the direction he's looking. All the camera angles suggest that they were on the east side of the wall. So the evidence that was presented is wrong. It doesn't make any logical sense. I understand that Game of Thrones does not make logical sense, but in the game, it just doesn't make logical sense. So I'm sorry. I hope they live, but I'm sorry.